Hello and welcome back to episode 40 of the Not Yet Adults podcast. I am one of your hosts, Collin Geffrey, joined by Eric Zayas, the one and only.
You almost forgot to say one and only because it's been so long.
Just to be transparent with everyone out there, like I don't know. I thought about like putting out a tweet of like, hey, we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. And then it got to a point where your and I's schedules just weren't lining up at all. And so it got to the point where I was like, I'd rather just say something when we have something to say. Because it was like we'd set up a time and then one of us would have to bail. And then we set up a time and the other one would have to bail. And it just wasn't working. But here we are. We're back. We finally made things line up with another episode. Eric, how's life been treating you, buddy? What's been happening?
Life has been interesting recently. I've had some like pretty big developments recently. I think it's been over 2 weeks since our last episode. And in that time, for the most part, it's been normal day-to-day work at Lowe's, sending out some resumes here and there, applying at different places. And then I applied at a place I applied to before that I interviewed for, but wasn't really working out. And I interviewed for them again, and I just recently found out that I got a new job. Yeah, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I haven't signed anything yet, like an official thing that says I got the job, so I won't even say the company's name or anything. But it's a place in Lakewood, so it's really close to where I live. The commute's nice. It's a set schedule, full time. Yeah, I'm really excited. It has to do with my degree, so that's the newest, biggest thing with me is that I've got a new job, so I can finally leave Lowe's, who have treated me well these past almost 6 years, I have to say. Nothing bad to say about Lowe's, and so that's the big thing. But that is just a recent thing. Like a few weeks ago, like a week or so after our last episode came out, I have been in the process of doing something that's kind of strange. I feel like, I mean, it's not super strange, it's pretty normal. A lot of people do it.
You're hiking Mount Kilimanjaro.
Mount Kilimanjaro. I can't even say the name. No, I should probably mention this first because it's not as big as the thing I'm saying, but it's like been a longer process, I've discovered. I'm planning on becoming an Uber driver. I got a new car recently, and it's a pretty nice car. It's a 2011 Honda Tucson, so it's pretty spacious and it's pretty clean on the inside, although I would want to clean it more before I start driving. And I was like thinking for a while, like, why don't I just become an Uber driver? I can make my own hours. It'd be extra money pretty much. And then I was like, let me actually do it. So I went on the app, I clicked on become a driver, and then I went through the process of becoming an Uber driver. And so there's some online courses I had to take, some tests I had to do. I had to have my car inspected to make sure the seatbelts work and stuff like that. And so I have like one more online course, and then I have to send in some like banking and tax information into the company. And then like I'm assuming I'll get like the little Uber decal sent to me, and then I'll be able to officially start driving.
So just kind of playing devil's advocate, like I always do for whatever reason. Are you worried at all about finding time to do Uber driving after you start full time at the new company?
Well, because that's the thing I'm really excited about, the set schedule. I know which days I'll have off consistently and what times I'll be working during the day, and I could basically make a schedule for Uber with my new job basically, and it'll be a schedule that works for me rather than a schedule I have to work for. And I think things are like looking up, I mean, now because my main source of stress for the last couple of weeks, or actually months since I've graduated PLU, was like finding a new job, and nothing was like really happening with that. And I was worried that I'm just gonna stay at the same place I've been working at forever because it's like comfortable. It's boring, but it's also comfortable. Like, it works for me. Like, I know what I'm going to be doing every day. But I didn't want to be too comfortable.
As you and I have talked about ad nauseum on this show, job searching is a endless black hole in terms of time. You can put literally 80 hours into it a week and have just as many results as someone who put 2 hours in and got lucky, which is the frustrating thing about it, is you can put in so much time and maybe not even get an interview. And so it is a numbers game, but it also is a luck game to a certain extent. And I had a professor at PLU who said, inevitably for every job that ever has an opening, the best person for the job, their application will end up in the discard pile because so much of it is about luck and it is about timing and it is about you just phrased one thing the right way at the right time and the right person saw it. There's so many variables in it that it can be really frustrating. And so, there are other goals that I feel like you and I have set for ourselves that were more easily attainable, or at least you could attain quicker. And finding a job's a hard thing because that can take a really long time, as we both know. And so yeah, I think that's awesome, man. I wish you the best. Obviously, we're not talking about what the company is yet, which I think is wise. Just kind of wait for all the T's to be crossed and the I's to be dotted, so to speak. But I'm really excited for you, man. I think it's going to be great.
Thank you. I'm pretty stoked for it. But how about you, Colin? I don't want this podcast to just be about me. How about you? What have you been up to recently? What are some new things happening in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, not as much as you, admittedly. I'm still working at KHQ News. I think we said that before we kind of went on our break. I'm pretty sure I had said that on air. Which is my local NBC station. I've been there for about a month, a little over a month now. Recently they actually had an opening. I'm a technical media producer, which, to give people kind of context, you'd have like an intern, which is someone in college who would just kind of be shadowing a lot of people. And then you'd have maybe like a PA. I don't think there's actually technically any quote unquote PAs at KHQ, but if you've worked in production, a PA is basically just a gopher around there to do things that no one else wants to do. And then you have a technical media producer, which is I run cameras for the 5 and 6 p.m. broadcast. I edit promos and occasionally segments, and then I'll run teleprompter during shows. And that's basically my job responsibility. And recently there was an opening for a director. They call it director. It's more of a technical directing position, which is basically similar to what I was doing on late night during shows at PLU. It's running TriCaster and talking to camera ops and talent and that sort of thing. And there was recently an opening for it, and I applied, and I was interviewed, and I was told I was actually like a strong contender for it, which on its own, I was like, I knew I wasn't going to get it because like I'd been there 3 weeks and I was asking for a promotion. And so I knew it wasn't going to get it, and I didn't. But my boss was very transparent of like, hey, you frankly impressed us way more than we were expecting, and we're going to start training you on director so that when there's an opening, we won't have to go through all this again. We can probably move you up a lot easier. Not that they would just hand it to me, but that it would be a lot easier because I'd already have directing training. And so so I'm working as a TMP, and they're going to start training me as a director in some of the down hours, and hopefully I can move up to that whenever there's an opening. But I'm working anywhere between 25 and 30 hours a week right now. The pain in the butt is I still don't have a car. And so literally, like, we're recording this, it's 11:32 a.m. The day we're recording this, and I have work at 3, but I'll have to leave in about an hour here because literally, like, I'll leave my house at about 12:40, and so like a 50-minute walk to the bus and like an hour plus bus ride.
Oh my god. 50-minute walk to the bus.
50-minute walk to the bus and then an hour plus bus ride. So honest, from the time I leave my front door to the time I get to work, it's about 2 hours. So literally, like today I guess today I'm working a long shift, but often I'll work a 3 to 7 shift, and I spend as much time commuting as I do actually working, which is ridiculous. And so I guess one thing that I probably need to do at some point is get a car. And I really don't want to get a car just because I hate driving, and I especially with driving for whatever reason, I just deal with a lot of anxiety and stuff there. I've been in a couple car wrecks. I've had bad experiences with that, and I just really hate being in a car, much less driving it. So that's kind of something I'm dealing with is trying to make ends meet. And I probably would be able to get more hours potentially at work if I did have a transportation solution. But right now I'm kind of at the mercy of the Spokane bus system, which isn't great. But anyway, so that's kind of what I've been struggling with is making that work. And then I'm in the process of pitching another commercial idea to PLU, which is kind of cool. Back in, I want to say November, when we pitched them on the last commercial we made, there were 2 other ideas that were kind of floated out. One in particular that I really liked. And it was kind of said that like, okay, we like this idea, but we can't shoot it right now because we just don't have enough time. And now Josh Weersma and I are pitching it again, and we brought it up, and they are still interested. And so we're putting together our storyboard and our budget for them sometime in the next week or so. and hopefully get that approved to shoot in spring. And it's an idea that I'm like really jazzed about.
Cool. That sounds super interesting. And I'm assuming it's still under wraps, like you can't really talk about the idea because that would give away.
Yeah, I don't want to. I will talk ad nauseum about it if and when it happens after it happens. But until then, I don't want to put it out there. And also because like, no disrespect to PLU, but if they find it's just not worth the return on investment for them, or it just doesn't fit with the content that they want right now, Josh and I may just do it on our own because it's an idea that he and I really like. And I think it'll happen one way or another. But if it's not a PLU production, it'll probably take more time to fund and actually make happen. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been working on is working and trying to figure out kind of the logistics of making my work life a little bit more manageable. And then pitching that idea to PLU and kind of getting that ball rolling. So yeah, that's where I'm at, Eric. And we've kind of filled people in a little bit as to where we've been in the off weeks. We do apologize that we've missed as many episodes as we have.
Yeah, that wasn't our intention at all.
And I mean, it's just life, it happens. And I guess to our credit, or not to our credit, to our detriment, we maybe could have put out a tweet or something. But my thought was like, we don't really have anything to announce. So it's we just kind of wanted to wait till we were actually back and making episodes again. But so Eric, that's where we've been. That's sort of what's been going on. Let's talk about where we're going or where we want to be going. 2019, obviously we didn't strictly speaking do a New Year's episode, but the beginning of the year, people set sort of resolutions and goals for themselves and that sort of thing. Let's talk about Eric. What do you want to see like happen for yourself this year? What are some shorter long-term goals that you have?
Well, my goal, interesting enough, when I don't really set out like a strict New Year's resolution out anymore, because last couple of years I would set out a resolution and it wouldn't happen. And so I was kind of bummed out. So I just feel like saying something is a resolution is like makes it that less likely to happen, because then there's too much stress rolled around. I'd just rather have like general ideas of what I want to do, and I feel like that's, for me at least, there's a better chance I'll actually do it. But like when 2019 came around, my New Year's resolution, so to speak, or my like goal or what I wanted to do was to get a new job. And I had no idea that like it would come so quickly.
So you're done for the whole year. You got nothing left to do this year. You're good.
I don't have to do anything, but since I have a new job, my like goal now is, just focusing on that job and advancing in that job as much as I can. Obviously, like I'm not gonna be able to get like promotions right off the bat, but like, just seeing where I can advance in that company and then working towards advance. So like treating it like kind of like it's a video game. That's how I like to think of it, at least. Like in video games, you start out with a certain amount of skills based on your experience level, and then the more experience you get, you level up and you can do more. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about this new job, is like it's just a new video game. I just need to, find, how I can level up, so to speak, and then put in the work and the requirements to level up. So that's like the first main thing and probably the most important, but also something realizing I've been doing passively and want to make active work to avoid doing is I feel like there are some of my friends that I've been neglecting. Obviously the friends I live with, I spend time with on a regular basis because I live with them, so it's easiest. But there are friends that I don't live with that I haven't been hanging out with as much, and I want to make more time to hang out with them because they have busy work schedules, I have busy work schedules, but I miss them, haven't seen them in a while, and I barely talk to them, so I want to fix that. Also, there's a lot of chores around my house that are really easy stuff that I just look at and I'll do it later. Like I have a computer desk and it's still in pieces next to my in the corner of my room, so it's a simple thing. I just have to put it together. But before I do that, I want to put together a curtain rod on a window that's right behind where the desk would be. So I can't put together the desk until I do that, because then it'd be harder to do that. So I have to put together the curtain rod first.
That's life, though, truly, especially as an adult. You're already working 40 hours a week, and then now you're going to be doing Uber on the side. So you're going to be working more than that a week, and you get home and you're exhausted and you've had a long day, and then it's just that one thing. And it's not that a curtain rod or a desk is even that complicated. It's that on top of everything else, you're just I'll get to it tomorrow. And it's so easy to say that over and over and over.
It's just each time I wake up in the morning, like my room is like fully illuminated because I don't have my blackout curtains up yet. Like because the window I have is like facing east, and so when the sun rises, all the light comes right into my window. And all I have right now are these like really thin vinyl blinds, or like those 1 inch ones that like they're like might as well be paper. It just lets so much light through. And I'm like, oh, if only I had blackout curtains.
I personally love that. I love waking up to the sun as opposed to waking up to an alarm clock. I just think that that's, I don't know what it is. There's just something very calming and kind of like the right way to start the day to me.
I mean, it doesn't. I'm a pretty heavy sleeper, so it doesn't even wake me up. It's just something when I wake up for my alarm, I open my eyes and like my eyes are already burning. Like I don't. I'd rather adjust to the light in my on my own terms. Also, I would love my room to be dark all the time because I'm that kind of person. Like my parents, when I lived with them, used to call me like a vampire because my room would always be dark.
Which is interesting because like I wouldn't say I'm the opposite, but I, for whatever reason, the last year, a pet peeve that I've really developed, I don't know why, is artificial light. I absolutely hate having artificial light on. And so I'll leave my window open like all day, and then I'll have like my computer on at night, and occasionally I have this ring light on my desk I use for videos. Occasionally I'll put that on at a really low setting. But I hate this ugly, disgusting yellow artificial lighting in houses and apartments. I just can't stand it. I don't know why. And it never used to bug me a few years ago, but it's like I haven't turned the main light in my room on in literally months. Just because I just hate it. I absolutely hate this yellow light. And so to me, having that natural sun coming in or whatever, I love.
I think that might speak to like like over the years taste buds change, and like something you liked to eat back in the day you don't like, and something you hated back in the day you like now. I think maybe so there's something to be said about like taste buds of the eye, so to speak, changing. Like,
well, no, totally. I mean, style and aesthetic, and no, absolutely. As you get older, your tastes kind of mature, or at the very least they change a little bit. So no, I think that's totally valid. Yeah, so one thing I wanted to ask you is you talk about that idea of sort of neglecting your friends, or maybe not spending as much time with certain friends as you maybe want to. And that hits close to home to me because I'd say like real talk. I mean, I don't like want to unnecessarily quantify things that don't need to be, but I'd say probably here in Spokane I have like 3 people I consider friends. And like I haven't spent time with really any of them since graduating just because I've had other stuff going on. And so one question I have for you is, do you think you use the word neglecting? Do you think it's that big of a deal and that much of a mistake, or do you think it's just part of getting older?
well, I think it definitely is part of getting older. Like, there's just some people that you're gonna talk to less and less, but particularly with these friends that I'm referring to, I don't want that to be the case. I'd rather like reconnect with them while we're still friends, rather than like years later thinking, oh, I never talked to that person again. Let me hit them up, and their lives have moved on. And like, I just feel like right now we're in a stage where we're maybe like drifting away, and I'd rather like grab the horse by the reins right now, or I don't know if that's the right metaphor, but like nip it in the bud. That's a better metaphor. And get back, because I still talk to them every now and then. It's just not as frequent, and because like they're busy with their lives and I'm busy with mine, and it's just harder. It gets harder to like keep in contact with them. So, but like, yeah, I'd rather repair that.
No, totally. And I think that's wise. I just like, I don't know if this is selfless or self-centered, but like I'll have that thought now and again of like, I haven't reached out to this person in X amount of time. And I'll always wonder, like, are they waiting for me to reach out? Are they thinking about this as much as I am, or as little as I am? Are they just so busy and I'm just so busy that we just naturally haven't reached out? Or I guess maybe that's me being too analytical, but it does make you wonder, when time has gone on, of like, is that friendship what it used to be? Are we just growing apart because that's what's supposed to happen? I mean, it's big questions. I don't think there's a proper answer for it. I know for me, like, I'm a very goal oriented person. So like for me, upon graduating, the big reason I wasn't hanging out and spending time with friends here in town was I was like, there's more important things I need to be doing. I need to get a job. And then now I have a job, and it's like, okay, for me, I need to move out. That's like the next big goal for me. And it's like I need to prioritize that. I need to put my effort and time and resources towards that. And even once I'm moved out, I'm sure something else will come along of, okay, now I need to get a promotion, or now I need to build a freelance client base, or whatever. There's always something that will be the next thing and will be an excuse for you not to take care of and attend to the other things in your life. So I don't know, but that's something that resonated with me when you mentioned that, just because I feel like that's really relatable to where we're at in our lives right now. Of it can be very easy to be putting a lot of focus, arguably too much focus, on career and work and quote unquote being an adult. And so yeah, I think that's a tough one. I don't know if there's a silver bullet to kind of solve that issue, but
The only other thing I'd like to say about as far as my goals are concerned is I'd like to start writing more, because something I wanted to do when I graduated PLU is use my writing minor and like write little like short stories or something, maybe like try to get something published. But I haven't been doing that at all because I've been focusing on getting a job and focusing on housework and stuff like that. And now that I've reached a major goal by getting a new job, I can maybe focus on stuff that isn't as important but is still important, like writing. But I want to throw it to you now and see kind of like what are your big goals. Like, tell me about like the primary goals you have and some of the secondary goals you have.
yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I just want to touch on what you said real quick. Like, don't give up on that writing, because I think that's awesome. And especially like I've gone through periods of my life, I still go through this stuff where it's easy to say like work needs all your attention and you shouldn't spend time on any personal stuff. And what I found is typically your work starts to suffer then, because you actually do need that time to unplug and do something for yourself. It benefits not just you, but your work as well. And so if writing could be an escape for you, I think that would be awesome. So definitely I'd say don't give up on that. Yeah, but as far as like my short and long term goals, I've said it before, I've said it again, moving out is my primary focus right now. And I it's interesting because I had a very frank like conversation with my parents the other day of not like, hey, this sucks and I need to move out, but like that's my main focus. And they were very supportive, and they're not charging me anything yet. In fact, they've been very accommodating. As I don't have a car, I'll typically like bus into the city, and oftentimes at night, instead of having like a 50-minute walk home in the cold, they'll come pick me up or whatever. And so like they're very, very accommodating and very understanding of my situation. I'm sure they're going to start charging me some amount of rent or something soon, and we've talked about that. And when that happens, it's not going to be weird because I know that's been coming for a while. But not it's not sustainable for me to live in my parents' basement my whole life. And especially before leaving for college, I was aware of the fact that I'm needing to get away from this. I'm not as happy as I could be here. And ever since getting back from college, I've been more aware of it. And it's not that my family's bad or that my siblings are bad. I actually get along with them really well, probably better than I ever have. But I just know that it's time for me to kind of get out on my own. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. Another goal I have, and again, touched on this earlier, but is directing another commercial for PLU. I don't remember the last time I was as excited about an idea that I had or an idea that I was a part of as I am about this current idea that I'm in the process of pitching to PLU. And so I really am passionate about that, and I want to take that forward. Weirdesma and I were on the phone last night for like an hour just talking about gear and logistics and the camera and lenses we want to shoot on and stuff. And I'm really excited about this idea. And so we'll see. There's always the chance that something goes wrong. It's production, so something will go wrong inevitably at some point. But I really want to make sure that happens in some capacity. And again, no disrespect to PLU, but if for whatever reason they decide to pass on it, I still want to make this video because I really believe in it, and Weirdesma and I are really psyched about it. So that's something I want to make happen, hopefully in the spring. I don't want to stew too long on that, just long enough to make it right, but not too long to the point where we're just waiting on nothing. So yeah, that's another goal of mine. And then more narrative content, maybe short films or something like that. I was making gaming content since June, and I was putting out like 5 to 7 videos a week, and I haven't done that the last month or so just because it got to a point where creatively it was just so stale and boring, because I was like, I'm not really challenging myself at all. I'm sitting down and playing a video game, and it's kind of the same thing every day. And it got to a point where it just wasn't fulfilling. And the stuff that has been fulfilling to me lately was the couple of like vlogs and short films that I've done on my channel, and then the narrative like driven commercial that I did at PLU. And so for me, telling stories and actually doing character work and actually like directing and building a story as opposed to just sitting down and playing a video game, that's been way more fulfilling to me lately. And that's the kind of stuff I want to mess around more with. So I'd like to do a short film of some kind this year, some sort of narrative driven short film. I think would be really cool to do. Logistically, there's a lot more to it than just saying I want to go do it. But that's kind of a goal I want to have. And I don't really have an idea or even a nugget of an idea yet, but I want to make some sort of short narrative piece this year to kind of challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone a little bit.
That would be so awesome, dude. And I'm really excited for you. And I just want to like offer up my services in any way, shape, or form. Like, I if there was any possible way I can be a part of this, I would love to be part of this.
Well, and that's why like it bugs me so much because like the people I know that I really feel like I have a good working relationship with are all in Tacoma when it comes to production. And that's what's so frustrating. It's like anytime I want to do anything, it's like, okay, either they come here or I go there. And that's just, it's such an inconvenience. But no, I really appreciate that, man. And I was talking with, again, Josh Wiersma the other day about this of, he was asking me, like, what do you want to do? Like just like as simple as that. Just like, what the hell do you want to do? And for me, it was like, call it producing, call it directing, call it whatever you want. But to me, the reason I work on video projects and film projects and stuff like that is when you get that moment of the way the people doing lighting meshes with the people who are doing set design, meshes with the people running camera, meshes with the talent on screen, meshes with the editing in post. When everyone knows what they're doing and you have that moment where it all comes together and you make magic, that's so special. And to me, it's less about what's being done and it's more about the people who are doing it. And working with the right people that you like and enjoy and you have that great relationship with, I would so much rather do a decent idea with an awesome team than a great idea with a terrible team. And so to me, like, just who you're working with is so important. And so for you and I, or, again, really anyone I worked with at PLU, because I think so many of them are just amazing. Could do anything in any capacity again. I mean, I'll move mountains to make that
That's
happen,
a beautiful
so.
thing, and I totally agree with you. Like, the best part of any job I've ever had is the people I'm working with, for sure.
And I mean, I'm not saying you can't make greatness happen by yourself or in a vacuum, but I think it's a lot harder, and the scope of what you can do is significantly limited when you're just doing it by yourself. So, I mean, my advice, unsolicited advice I could give to anyone out there who maybe wants to get into doing anything is build the right team and be smart enough to know what you don't know, and then find people who do know the things that you don't know, because you can't do everything yourself. So yeah, that's kind of the tangent I went on. I apologize there, but that's kind of where I'm headed, and it sounds like where's Eric's headed over the course of the year. Eric, anything that we want to sneak in at the end?
I just want to say that I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be talking to you, Colin. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too, bud. It's weird because like it kind of naturally happened with the holiday, and then as we were trying to get back, it was just you had stuff going on and I had stuff going on, and it's life. But it's good to be back here. This is a nice place to be, and it's cool to be back here with you again.
Well, this has been another episode of the Not Yet Adults podcast. Let us know what's up with you, what's new with you. If you've got anything that's happening that's exciting in your life, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. And remember that this is the Not Yet Adults podcast, of course. And we're doing something a little bit different. You usually say it comes to you every Monday and Friday. But now that we're both a little bit more busy and doing 2 episodes a week is kind of hectic with our schedules, we're actually going to reduce that to 1 episode a week on every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So now episodes are going to come once a week on every Friday. But they're just going to be just as good. And now that we're doing 1 episode a week instead of 2, we're more able to do better episodes and create better content for you, our audience. And we're really excited about that. So yeah, these episodes are going to come out every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, like I said, on YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and all sorts of podcast services like they always have. We're also We're also all over social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter at Not Yet Adults, and also we have our own subreddit, r/Not Yet Adults, and we really love it if you check that out sometime. If you could head over to Apple Podcasts or iTunes if you're on iOS and leave us a rating and review. It would only take a couple of minutes of your time, and we'd really appreciate it because it helps us out enormously. And it makes people see our podcast more easier and really boosts our name out there, and we would love that. So again, we'll be back next Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time with something new, and we're super excited and looking forward to it. Thank you so much. This has been Not Yet Adults.
Bye-bye.